Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Amanda. I know most of you. So I was asked to say a few things, like what brought me to Islam, what interested me in Islam, things like that. But I think most of you actually have heard that story, so I'm going to say something that happened after. And it has to do with me traveling. And in March, I went to Arizona for a conference, and everyone who knows me well knows I hate flying. And so I get to Arizona at 1 in the morning. Everything in the airport is closed. Everything is closed. And I'm walking around and I'm going, I don't know where I'm supposed to get on a taxi. There were no signs to tell me where I needed to get a taxi, and I had to get to my hotel. And I was just walking around, and finally this Indian woman in her little business suit walks up to me and goes, Assalamu alaikum. I'm like, oh, wa alaikum salam. And I was like, oh. And she's like, oh, I'm Muslim too. And I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, are you looking for a taxi? You were on the same flight as me. And I said, oh, yeah, I am. And she goes, I just found them. Come this way. And she led me to my taxi. And I went to the hotel, and then the next day at the conference, I was sitting in one of the speeches, and a woman came up to me, and she goes, Assalamu alaikum. I'm like, wa alaikum salam. She goes, I'm from Algeria. I'm Muslim too. I said, cool. And we talked for a long time, and she said, oh, well, do you know where the masjid is? I said, no, I didn't even know there was one here. I'm in the middle of Arizona. I didn't know that there were Muslims there. And she goes, no, we have a big masjid, and you should come with me, and we can go to Jummah at 2 o'clock. I said, okay. So we went. And after that, we went to an Arabic restaurant, and the waiter sat down and talked to us. He was a man from Palestine, and he just talked to us, and we had a nice conversation about culture and Islam, and how it's really interesting that people from so many different places, from India, from Bangladesh, from Saudi Arabia, from even everywhere in the world, every country has Muslims. And we were talking about how it's important to keep your culture, especially for converts. And when I went to Poland this summer, my sister was really nice, and she found me a masjid to go to on Friday, and I went in, and I met a Polish woman. And she took me back home, and we had dinner together, and we talked about how to maintain Polish heritage when you're a convert to Islam, because Polish culture, for those of you who don't know, is like 98% Catholic related. And that's really difficult when you change religions, to change your entire culture as well as your religion. And it was just really interesting. These two events showed me that across cultures, there's the same religion. So basically this just ties into what I think that the Muslim Student Association should do. And it's to show Mount Pleasant and show Central and the Central students what a non-cultural Islam is like, what the religion is like, not what the culture is like. Because there are people from every culture across the world who are Muslims, and that doesn't affect the belief. And that's all I have to say.